You find one factual inaccuracy?
So
there's not one.
For you to tell the
you're quoting us. You're quoting us. But let me make this point. Let me make this point, which is that China gave $5.5 million.
It's Mr. Timmons' time. It's Mr. Timmons' time.
For you to tell the American people that $7.8 million went to President Trump is an outright lie. It's a fabrication. Hold on, and I'll tell you exactly why.
Did Congressman William Timmons just turn the Democrats' own report against them? In one fiery exchange, he grabbed their own footnotes, read them out loud, and suddenly the entire narrative started falling apart. If you think you've already heard this story, think again, because what happened next completely changed the tone of the hearing. And if you enjoy breaking down moments like this, make sure you subscribe because we've got plenty more.
Correct the record. It seems this entire hearing we're chasing all of these logical arguments that really don't have any merit. And earlier, before we recessed, we were discussing the ranking member's $7.8 million in foreign payments from at least 20 countries during his presidency, and I knew the answer. I knew that that was revenue, and it wasn't actually profits. Hold on, I will let you ask questions at the end of this. And you said, did I read the report? And so I did. And in the report, it actually specifically says these included payments from foreign governments and foreign government-owned or controlled entities to properties owned by Donald Trump, including Trump International Hotel in D.C., Vegas, Fifth Avenue, and this is my favorite, Trump World Tower at 845 United Nations Plaza in New York. So let's just use that one alone, because if you go down to page 20, footnote 23, it actually clarifies where this money came from to include the amount of money. And so what y'all did is you took a building that was built in 1999 and completed in 2001, and you have, it's 100 yards from the United Nations, so these foreign countries owned multi-million, $10 million, $20 million condos in one of the nicer buildings in New York. And I was just kind of shocked because I knew that you were using revenue and you weren't using actual profit that the president or the Trump organization made. You actually used HOA payments. Do you know how duplicitous it is for you to use HOA payments on a $20 million condo in New York? Like, it is outrageous. No, you can, I'm gonna go through, we're gonna go through all of them because you list them. And I see Saudi Arabia, $615, $422,000, Trump World Tower. And you go and you look, there's nothing there that is under $10, $12 million. So you're taking a $12 million property that was owned since 2001, and you're saying that this is somehow similar to Hunter Biden running all over the world and selling the big guy's influence? These are completely different things, and the fact that you even created this report and you're using it to shield us pursuing justice to make sure that this president is not compromised because his son has sold secrets to China, to Ukraine, is so disingenuous, it's so duplicitous. It's not even misrepresentation, it's a lie. I'm happy to hear this from you because, again, you told me to go read it. I read it. That's what it says. I can read you in footnote 23 where it says this report uses common charges or rent payments. All of these properties were owned prior to 2018. They didn't go out and purchase them because of the president. They were there for decades before this happened. That's the point. That's the difference.
Okay.
Would the gentleman yield? We have a good story.
Absolutely.
Would the gentleman yield? Thank you, my dear friend, for engaging in substance and not ad hominem attack. I very much appreciate that. Having said that, some of the payments, first of all, you said that there are lies in here. Can you find one factual inaccuracy? There's not one.
For you to tell
you're quoting us. You're quoting us. But let me make this point. Let me make this point, which is that China gave $5.5 million.
It's Mr. Timmons' time. It's Mr. Timmons' time.
For you to tell the American people that $7.8 million went to President Trump is an outright lie. It's a fabrication. Hold on, and I'll tell you exactly why. Because you're using businesses that existed decades prior to when he became president. And
you're saying all of them?
Hold on. And you're using HOA fees for multi-million-dollar properties that have been around since 2001. And again, even the fees that they pay for hotel rooms, that is a fee for a product, for a service. There's no service with Hunter Biden other than influence of the vice president or the president of the United States, and that is why we are here, because he will not answer questions in the exact manner that you have required for last Congress and the Congress before that. I mean, it is difficult to chase all of your logical fallacies surrounding this, but at the end of the day, he's going to do exactly what Don Jr. did. He's going to do exactly what you required of every other member, except every other person that you've subpoenaed, except for members of Congress who actually do have immunity, which you're pretending like you don't know what that means. We need to get to the bottom of this. The American people demand it. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Excellent.
Mr.
Does any other member wish to speak? You wish to speak?
This hearing escalated fast. You could feel the tension building from the very beginning. Democrats believed they had a strong argument based on a report discussing payments connected to Donald Trump's business properties during his presidency. But Congressman William Timmons wasn't interested in debating headlines. Instead, he focused on the details buried inside the report itself. And honestly, that's where this exchange became interesting. Rather than simply rejecting the report outright, Timmons said he actually went back and read it. Then he began pointing to the footnotes. His argument was straightforward. He said the report was discussing revenue flowing through long-established Trump-owned properties, not personal income going directly into President Trump's pocket. He also argued that some of the figures included homeowners association fees, rent, and payments related to properties that had existed years before Trump entered the White House. That immediately shifted the discussion. Instead of talking about a single headline number, everyone suddenly found themselves arguing over what those numbers actually represented. Timmons repeatedly emphasized that these buildings had been owned for decades. He pointed to properties near the United Nations where diplomats and foreign officials had purchased or rented units long before Trump's presidency. His message was simple. If someone rents a hotel room, if someone pays condominium fees, if someone pays for services at a property, should those payments automatically be treated the same as selling political influence? That became the central question he wanted everyone watching to consider. Then came one of the heated moments of the hearing. Representative Jamie Raskin defended the committee's report and challenged Timmons to identify factual inaccuracies. Timmons fired back by arguing that the way the report was being presented to the public created a misleading impression. He insisted there was an important distinction between gross business revenue generated by existing commercial properties and personal profit or evidence of improper conduct. That distinction is exactly why this exchange attracted so much attention. Timmons didn't spend his time making long speeches filled with political slogans. Instead, he kept returning to the report itself. He referenced the footnotes, he referenced the ownership history of the properties, and he argued that context matters just as much as the headline. Now, supporters of the report would likely respond that even ordinary business transactions involving foreign governments deserve public scrutiny when a president owns the businesses involved. That's been part of the broader ethics debate for years. But Timmons clearly believed that comparing those business transactions to allegations surrounding Hunter Biden's overseas business dealings was inappropriate because, in his view, they involved fundamentally different circumstances. That comparison became one of the biggest flashpoints during the hearing. By the end of the exchange, neither side had convinced the other, but from a political standpoint, Timmons accomplished something important. He shifted the conversation away from the headline figure and toward how that figure was calculated. In congressional hearings, changing the debate can sometimes be just as significant as winning it. And that's exactly why clips like this spread so quickly online. People don't just watch the shouting. They watch to see who appears prepared, who knows the documents, who can defend their position under pressure. Whether you agree with Timmons or not, he came into that hearing ready to argue the details instead of just the talking points, and that made for one of the most memorable exchanges of the session. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Timmons successfully challenged the report's conclusions, or do you think the committee's concerns were still valid? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more political hearing highlights, and I'll see you in the next one.